Hey, what's up guys, and welcome to the comic shop. It's BZ Comics. As you can see in the back, I already kind of made one of these Kabuto and Mempo helmets before, but this time I'm going to throw just a little bit of a twist on it. Starting out with more of a face mask. As you know, if you've seen some more of my shorts, this is actually a green Goblin helmet, but I actually cut off the front piece, and it actually kind of still keeps the same samurai style. It's actually going to fit because I did want to use this blue spirit mask, but as you can see, it's, as far as the scale, it's just not going to work. So there's a lot that I learned from this last helmet here. A lot of different laces that I'm going to be trying out and using. You can see I already came up with 2 different emblems and symbols, and again, the mask is something a little bit different as well. So there are going to be a lot more techniques and materials that I get to show you guys. But enough of me talking, let's get to it. This is going to be pretty crazy. Okay, so this was take 1, and if you haven't seen this video, definitely check up right up here in the top right to see this whole video. This is still a good helmet. As you can see, this was more so inspired by the game Ghost of Tsushima. If you haven't played that game yet, I don't know why, you're definitely missing out on a good theme. But there are a couple things that I feel like I missed in the representation of these helmets. Check out this reference picture here. If you look at it, it's kind of bare. Not only did I mess up by using yarn, I also soldered each layer together, which again, that takes away from the aesthetics because the thicker string that you put in this is supposed to attach and hold each of these together. So that way it was flexible for the soldier, so that way if arrows came in, these were their deflection. Not only that, if you look at the front, I left that pretty bare, and along the sides. Yes, I do have the emblems, but you can see on most of these helmets that they did have some kind of leather, some kind of initial facial design. Another aesthetic that their Mempos used to have was that the nose piece would come out. So this section here with the teeth would actually be able to pull out from the mask. That's not something I think I'm going to be able to achieve because the print is already kind of done, but it's still something to note. As you see on these masks, I did add some like weathering effects, but this time I want to add at least like a small mustache because if you look at the reference image here, you see that they at least do that. So adding a mustache, adding some rope, adding just a little bit more detail to the mask. But before we get into that, let's get done with the sand. Pro tip as well, as you can see, I've been making like a couple more prints that are going to have like LED lights that are going to be see-through. I kind of had white filament already loaded, but it's really hard to notice the difference when you're sanding, at least for the first go. Obviously, once you put some primer on it, everything is going to reveal. But the first layer, sanding white filament, I would highly avoid doing that. I would say use white only if you're trying to make something transparent and you're not really going to be sanding like that, right? All right, so the lower half is now sanded. I'm not gonna lose too much sleep over the top because like I said, this is just the first go. So once I add the primer, then I'll be able to know a little bit more of what I have to sand from there. Speaking of primers, typically for starters, just as you see in the name, 2-in-1 filler primer, sandable primer. This is what I start out with. And what I try to focus on is getting as flat of a surface as possible. So that way there are no layer lines, there are no bondo spots or gaps, anything like that. This 2x flat gray primer really does a satisfying job of that. I'll show you in just a couple seconds as we go ahead outside and add the primer. But you'll see that that's kind of what gives this smooth finish. And it really helps with bringing out gloss colors when you want really shiny products. I think the more that you get your primer stage set, and as flat as possible, looking with no imperfections as possible, the better, like I always say, the better your paint's gonna be. Okay, so for this go, as you guys know from the beginning of the video, last time I used yarn, and I'm not going to do that again and make it look tacky. So this isn't actually the original kind of like silk or material that you should use, but it's going to look a lot better. It's Merchant 41 Twilight. I don't know what it is. But I found this and a couple other things at Hobby Lobby. But basically, as you can see, the reason why I used the yarn was because this was a little bit thicker. So to fix that, as you can see, I'm just opening up the holes from the inside, so that way it makes life a lot easier. And it actually looks more realistic. It looks a lot better from the outside with the holes like this size. So got the soldering iron warmed up. And all I'm doing is kind of like going in like a circle motion, just like this. You can just really go straight because the soldering iron's already a circle. We're just pushing it into each of those indents. And boom. Now, the reason why I'm doing it from the inside is because I don't want it to look ugly on the outside. The outside's already painted, so I'm doing it from here. And as you can see, it's just like butter. So I'm gonna have to do this not only on this one, but on all of the other layers and lids. Now, the good thing is it's moving this quickly, but most of this helmet stuff is tedious and it takes time, which is what usually it took in real life. So these used to take years to make for the soldiers, so can't really complain about that. But like I said, this thing is gonna come out super satisfying. I'll show you what other materials that I got in just a second once we're all done with this. But the cool thing for you guys is you got the power of time lapse. So I'll see you soon. when you look at most of the reference pictures, like the one that you see alongside with the video, you'll notice that they all have string in them that attach to the helmet as well. You see last time I used string or yarn. This time I have some better rope, again from Hobby Lobby. So this stuff looks amazingly good. I can dip it in some color if I need, but I think white, black, and red are definitely gonna go together. But basically these first starter pins that I have on each side, or this first row basically, I'm gonna open those holes up a little bit wider just so that this rope can go in there, transfer down to the helmet, into the mask, and then further up. So this is going, I'm telling you guys, this is gonna be crazy. And these here are gonna be the additional materials that I bought. Now some of these, this is kind of after the video, but some of these I didn't use. This is some good material. This is some really good fabric that really would have smacked onto the helmet really nice, but it does have like a gloss kind of finish. And the helmet that I'm making has like more of a matte finish. So I just think that it wouldn't really have looked right. And I had already sanded it and painted everything down. So I don't know, I feel like I can still use this maybe on a different helmet, but it just wasn't really fitting. I did cut out different strips and try it. Even at the middle part, it just really didn't look right for me. So I'm gonna save this, and I'm probably just gonna add the mustache. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are gonna be asking. So I used this here fox fur. All of this stuff again was from Hobby Lobby. This is what I just used, cut like a little bit of strip, cut this in half, and then threw that onto the mustache. And then as far as the rope, Hobby Lobby as well. This is what I'll be using to connect the helmet to the mask, and the mask to the helmet, and the helmet to the mask, and the mask to the helmet. Back to the video. So let me guys know what you think about it in the comments. I think this thing came out beautiful. I personally don't think that there's much more that I could ask for. I just have to start to fix up these strings. I just wanted to rush and show you guys what everything was looking like. But just hiding these strings, I'm just gonna have to do a little bit better and just tie these up. But as far as the mask itself, the mustache, everything that goes onto it, I can't complain at all. I don't think you guys can either. Let me know what you guys think about the new background as well. This thing looks amazing at night. I'm also thinking about making this a series and starting to find more like soldiers who actually wore these helmets and try to replicate some of the more famous and popular ones. So that's going to be something that would be pretty cool. But for that and more of my upcoming vids and upcoming builds, definitely hit the like and subscribe button so that way you can stay tuned for what's coming up next. And as always, guys, this is what inspires me. I hope you guys find what it would inspire you to start creating your own 3D printed designs or 3D printed props, because the world is endless of what you can make. As long as you can think it, you can 3D print it. And don't forget, as always, stay tuned for what's coming next. Peace.